Hello, friend. Today I'd like to talk about Excel and one of the more tricky formulas, the if statement. I put together a spreadsheet here of sales reps and their quarterly results in sales in the thousands. And I want to come up with a way to use the if statement in business to evaluate whether or not these employees are performing at the level that we expect them to. So the tricky part about the if statement isn't necessarily the syntax, but the complexity of how many variations of use there are for it. So let's type this in. We're going to determine if the average of the 3 months sales for each representative are greater than 20 or 20,000 in sales, because our expectation is 20,000 in sales per month. So we're going to take the average of the three columns, B2, C2, and D2 for Representative Brown, and test to see if it is greater than or equal to 20. If it is, the true part will be that this representative has passed, and if it's not, if it does not meet that criteria, then this rep will have failed the test. So Brown has passed because their average is going to be equal to 20 or greater than 20. We'll use the secondary crosshairs here to copy this straight down, this formula, and we'll see that Chen and Moore and Murphy have failed this first test. What's important is that we always verify our logic, verify our formula for whether or not this is accurate and working the way we expect it to. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in to determine the average for those cells, and verify that yes, he passed because his average sales per month are over 20,000. And we'll again grab the crosshairs, drag this down to see, verify that if it's under 20, they do in fact fail. All right, let's take this a step further. Now we want to calculate individually if each representative is meeting 10% of sales. This is a second criteria we can evaluate an employee on, and we'll again use the if statement. To add the 3 months together, and then divide that by the total of the overall sales for the company, which are on the 9th row down. I'm going to use the $sign before the 9 because that returns the absolute value. So when we copy this formula down, it'll make sure that it keeps that 9 and doesn't go to 10, 11, 12 as we copy it down. And again, the test here is we're going to test to see if it's greater than or equal to 10%. And if it meets that criteria, if the person, the representative, meets that criteria, then we will pass them through this part of the evaluation, and if not, we will fail them. Oh. Yes. Getting syntax is very important, so we will do that. So, is Brown getting 10% of the total sales? Well, this says yes, it passed. We'll go ahead and copy the formula down, and we'll see that Murphy is the only one who has failed this test. And again, we're going to check our logic to verify that here are our total sales for the month, each person's total monthly sales individually, and we'll go ahead and just determine their percentage of sales. So Brown has 17% of the sales, and 14, 15, 10, 8. So you see that 8 is less than 10%, and so Murphy does in fact fail. So as I was talking earlier about the complexity of the if statement and how far it can go, we're only really scratching the surface, but let's do another test. Let's say that we have multiple criteria of pass and fails here for each of the representatives, and we have determined that we would like to, if they pass one of these criterias but fail the other, it's okay as long as they don't fail both of the criteria. So we'd like to determine which of these employees have passed one or failed both. And so we'll use an if statement again. This time we're going to use a logical test for multiple criteria, and that's or. And would work here too if we wanted to make sure they passed both, but we want to see if they've passed either of these. So again, the test is E2 equals pass. So if the E column there is a pass, and the second logical test is I2 equals pass, then we will return, if they have passed either of them, we will return a keep, and if they failed both of them, we will return a fire. Not saying we would fire them, but this may be the criteria that we go off of. So we're going to keep Brown. We'll go ahead and copy this formula all the way down, and we'll see that we are supposed to fire Murphy because he failed both. Secondary thing here, just on the use of nulls, if we wanted to return a null value or no value in a field, we could also use an if statement to do this. If O2 keep equals fire, then we're going to return A2, the A2 value, which is the name of the representative. Otherwise, double double quotation marks or leave a null value in the field. And you can see there's nothing here because it doesn't say fire here. But as we copy this down, it says that we are to fire Murphy because he did not meet any of our sales criteria. Well, this has been a look into the use of if in Excel in a business scenario. If you appreciate it and like this video, please hit like and subscribe. Just starting out, and I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.